Today, I'm going to show you guys how to combine both AncientGarurumon and MagnaGarurumon together and make some crazy combo plays to unsuspend and swing non-stop against your opponents. Hello Digimon players and fans, welcome back to another Digimon Deck Profile and in-depth building guide video. It's been a while since I visited MagnaGarurumon on the channel, and as a matter of fact, I never ever made a video covering AncientGarurumon on the channel either. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Now, I have a quick disclaimer though. I didn't build this deck myself, and I actually found it online. And I want to give a huge shout out to the person who did, because this deck is absolute genius. I initially wanted to alter the build after playtesting it, but after playing many games, I wasn't able to find a different way to build this deck where I would actually say and pretty much call it perfect the way it is. But I still really want to share with all you guys my thoughts and opinions because it is so cool on all the cool combos it can actually pull off. The synergy between AncientGar and MagnaGar should not be left unnoticed. We got tons of amazing combos to show you guys on how this deck works and how to play overall, so you definitely want to stick around for the combo segment later on. Now, I'm pretty sure many of you guys are all over BT9 already and just can't wait to get into BT10. Well, the same pretty much goes for me as well, and the good news is that BT10 is just around the corner and I just can't wait to make more videos upcoming. So if you guys are just as excited, then be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned. Also give this video a like because it just really helps. And with that out of the way, let's get into the deck profile first. Alright, Digi-8 cards. We have the 4 copies of Upamon. When attacking once per turn, if our opponent has a Digimon with no sources, we get to draw one. Generally, I think this is the best default blue egg that you can play when you don't really have other synergies overall. And yeah, 4 copies is really all you need. Draw power is great, so getting more cards is always nice. So that's it for Digi-8 cards. Let's talk about the rookies, where we mostly have Strabimons. First and foremost, we have the BT4 Strabimon, the best one because you reveal top 3 on play, and you can potentially get 2 hits, 1 hybrid, and 1 blue tamer, which is very nice. And this one is always the one that you want to be hard playing early stages of your game. Next, we have another searching type of Strabimon, but the very versatile one. Also 3 costs just to play. This one is also very nice because you get to search, revealing top 4, but this time you can only add 1 hybrid or 1 Susano or 1 Koji. Mostly, you're going to be trying to grab yourself the hybrids if you can. If you have lots of hybrids in your hand, you would go for Koji. And in certain matchups, you might go for the Susano, but this also has a very nice inheritable because you can Digivolve on top of your egg, and on deletion, you may play 1 Koji from your hand without paying its memory cost. Really nice setups to play your Koji, and then you can do your Koji plays for later on. Just lots of value for the late game. This Strabimon is very nice too. And then last but not least, we have the BT6 Strabimon. This one you mainly just always want to be Digivolving. Very rarely you will be hard playing this because it doesn't have any on-play effects at all. But this one provides an inheritable of when attacking once per turn. If this Digimon has Hybrid or 10 Warrior in its traits, you get to gain a memory, which is always very nice. So yeah. To sum up for our final rookies, we do have 2 copies of Bokomon. Bokomon is also just a very good searcher, very similar to the BT4 Strabimon in general. On play, you reveal the top 5, grabbing yourself a hybrid or 10 warriors in its traits and 1 tamer as well. Now, however, the unfortunate side of things is that in the current meta, there's a lot of removal overall, and we don't really get to use its second effect as much, which is therefore 2 copies of Bokomon is really sufficient and just more preferable overall in this build. That's it for all of our rookies. Let's talk about our level 4s, where we have lots of Lobomons. The first Lobomon I want to showcase you guys is this promo Lobomon right here. Now, keep in mind there is an errata, and make sure to read the middle one for the errata type of effect. The errata is mainly just in its inheritable. But anyways, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but this one is just really mainly letting you Digivolve straight and warp into your AncientGarurumon, which is really cool. Once again, I'm going to show you guys a quick, easy combo that I can play with this card, but that's mainly its purpose. But it does have an inheritable, which helps you reduce the cost of Digivolving into an AncientGarurumon by 2, which can be very nice in some scenarios when you're trying to build a stack as well. So there is a versatility to go on with that with this Lobomon as well. Next, we of course have the default, I guess I would say the vanilla Lobomon, simply because it's just really good. Digivolve on top of 2 for a tamer, and then you can just go into your hybrid plays or just go swing for more security or even swing for game. Simple as that. Then we have 4 copies of the BT7 MagnaGarurumon, and we also have 1 copy of the BT4 MagnaGarurumon. The BT7 one just gives you jamming if you digivolve on top of a Koji, or if you digivolved on top of a hybrid, which is very nice. Can combo and synergize very nicely with our top end and our level 5 for later on to protect it from being destroyed by security battle. The other MagnaGarurumon at BT4 is just a very nice tech card to have. You can once again digivolve for 2 on top of a tamer, but you can also bounce level 3s when you attack, which is very nice, and in certain matchups it's very, very valuable too. But that's it for all of our level 4s. Let's talk about level 5s, where all we have is Beowulfmon. We got 4 copies of the BT7 one, and once again, 1 copy of the BT4 Beowulfmon. We all know the BT7 one is the best Beowulfmon, simply because you can digivolve for 1 on top of a Digimon that has a tamer in its Digivolution sources. When attacking, you can return one of your sources that has hybrid in its traits back to your hand to bounce one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon back to their hand. And once again, you can just turbo into this level 5 very, very quickly, is really the sole purpose of playing this card. Next, we got the BT4, the jamming. Beowulfmon jamming is great, really good for early checks when you can do early combos, but also opponent's turn when this Digimon has Digivolution cards with hybrid in its traits cannot be attacked, which is very, very nice and very, very clutch. Very nice tech card in general, and I do like playing it and seeing it sometimes in the early stages of the game too. That's it for all of our level 5s and our Beowulfmons. Let's talk about our level 6s. First and foremost, we have the 3 copies of AncientGarurumon. Now, what AncientGarurumon does is that once per turn, when attacking, you may unsuspend up to 2 of your Digimon with Garurumon in its name or hybrid in its form, which is very, very nice. Synergizes very greatly with all the other cards in our deck, and we can make so many multiple swings with it. On deletion, you may play one of your level 4 or lower Digimon card with hybrid in its name from your hand without payment any memory cost as well. It does cost 5 to digivolve, which is kind of hefty in general, and it doesn't pay you off as much with its value. However, once again, you do play along with the promo Lobomon, and we'll showcase you guys the quick combo, how there's 2 different ways you can play around it to help reduce the costs to bring out this guy. Then we have 3 copies of MagnaGarurumon. Now, MagnaGarurumon does a lot of different things when digivolving and when attacking. Once per turn, though, you can only use the effect once per turn. Keep in mind, whether you're when attacking or digivolving, once only. You may return 1 card with hybrid in its traits from the sources back to your hand to bounce one of your opponent's Digimon with the same level that you returned. And this card is very crucial to be played along with Koji, because that's the main purpose. Very rarely you'll be digivolving it for 4 in building your stack, but sometimes you might, but very rarely in most cases you would just play with Koji like I mentioned. But also your turn once per turn, when an effect adds a card back to your hand, you can unsuspend one of your Digimon. That's it for our level 6s. Let's finish off with our final Digimon with the level 7 right here, where we have 1 copy of the Susanomon. Since this is after all a blue hybrid deck, so this card does come in very handy, very clutch in certain scenarios, very good against the grindy matchups, because you can shuffle back your Tamers and hybrid back to the bottom of your deck and continue grinding on the long game. If not, it does have a built-in when digivolving removal. Very powerful, strong card, but 1 is all you really need. I never really felt like I need to play this card as much, but it's always just a nice to have. So that's it for all of our Digimon, and now let's move into our Tamers. Our main Tamer right here will be the 4 copies of Koji. Koji does cost 3 to play, and it can be played for 3 when it comes out of security or is checked by security. And what it mainly does is during your main, once per turn, you can place 5 cards with hybrid in its traits from your hand under this Tamer in any order to digivolve it into a MagnaGarurumon in your hand by paying its cost. And this guy is basically will be treated as the level 5 Digimon. Not only that, it will provide all your hybrids inheritable or anything that's on top of it an inheritable of your turn once per turn when you add a card with an effect, whether it's drawing or returning from your sources to your hand, you get to gain a memory, and this Digimon can't be blocked for the turn. Now, I realized that this effect is actually really good with its inheritable. And that is because Black War Greymon is super popular at the moment with its blocking capabilities. However, there are some pivotal moments when in the game situation and in your turn where you're able to get this effect and pull it off. You can actually win the game simply because your opponent might think that they have a blocker and they're safe, but this actually prevents it. It's generally just really good against any deck that has blocker. And it's just really cool when you do pull this off against those higher top tier meta decks in the current format as well. So yeah, 4 Kojis is a must. Then we have 3 Davises. Davis is just the best card as well. Memory Tamer, searching. You do want to search a bit more. We do play hybrids in this deck, so there's are times where we do end up digivolving on top of our Davis. So we do want to play a little bit more copies of this so then we can see it and cycle a bit more for later on as well. And yeah, Blue Hybrid deck, you got to maximize as much Tamers as you can. Speaking of other Tamers, we have a Matt and Sora right here. Another 3 copies. Start of your main phase. If you have 8 or more cards in your hand, you gain a memory. If your opponent has 8 or more as well, you gain another memory. Really good memory gainer overall. Your turn, with its secondary effect, is not as oftenly used, but it can come in handy and clutch sometimes, is that when one of your blue or red Digimon becomes unsuspended, you may suspend this Tamer to return one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon back to their hand. This is just once again another memory gaining Tamer, which provides you so much value in the late game because all the time both you and your opponent are going to have more than 8 cards in their hand, and then you can pull off and do your crazy combos and plays later on too. That's it for Tamers. For options, we have 2 blue memory boosts. Once again, memory is great, having delay is great, searching capability is great for more consistency overall, and then just 1 ice wall to round off here. So that will wrap up for the 50 card main deck. I don't really have any other card suggestions to be added into this deck generally, other than 1 card, which is Hammer Spark. After all, this is a blue based deck. I felt like having Hammer Spark is just great for defensive and also helping you make more plays overall. However, deck space is extremely tight and I play tested so many times and I never felt like I really needed it, although there's sometimes I really want to have it. But again, I just don't know what to take out from the main deck to add more Hammer Sparks, and 4 slots is quite a lot to work with. So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions or recommendations, what cards you would take out if you think Hammer Spark is necessary. If you don't think Hammer Spark is necessary at all, let me know in the comments. Alright, now let's showcase you guys a bunch of really cool combos you can actually pull off from this deck. Let's begin with the AncientGarurumon combos first, and then we're going to go into our MagnaGarurumon combos afterwards, and then we're going to go into like a full-fledged combo with both of them together in some scenarios which you get to pull off, which is really sweet. But anyways, you hatch your egg, of course. You want to be digivolving either of your Strabimons that provide inheritable. Either Strabi is just really great, but let's just say let's digivolve into this Strabi right here. I'm gonna put both here side by side just in case, so then you guys can know depending on the situation. You really just want to like probably play a Davis or play a Tamer somehow to pass your opponent to their memory, and then you really need to require 3 memory for this combo. Now the 2 cards you want to be seeing next is you want to make sure that you have your Lobomon, that is the promo one, and then also AncientGarurumon right here. So your opponent passes you to 3, you're going to move this up, and then you're going to be digivolving your Strabimon into the promo Lobomon by paying 2 costs here. Now when digivolving, Lobomon will let you warp straight into AncientGar for cost of 1. Now keep in mind, by doing this, your AncientGar will be deleted at the end of the turn. Even if you digivolve something on top of AncientGarurumon, this Digimon, this entire stack will be deleted no matter what. So at this moment, there's nothing to think about. Just swing it, whether into your opponent's Digimon or swing into security. Establish early game tempo is what you're really trying to do with AncientGar. Swing, and then now your AncientGar effect will use its effect where you can unsuspend itself here, and then you might get to draw 1 with Upamon, and that's about it. You swing in once again, that's 2 checks immediately, and then you will continue making your plays for the rest of the turn. Let's just say you play a blue memory boost just to help set yourself up for later on, whatnot, passing your opponent to 3, your turn will end, and AncientGar will be deleted. Now, because you played this Strabimon in particular, you have a lot of other effects to be resolving. You have AncientGar's effect to resolve as well. So let's just resolve the Strabimon effect first. If you do have a Koji in hand, lots of value, because on deletion, you may play a Koji for free. Right there, you have a Tamer set up already. And then when AncientGar is deleted, And if you have any level 4 or lower hybrids, you can play them outright here. And yeah, that's just another body so that you can swing again next turn. But most value will be playing the Strabimon, these ones with on play, so you can search and cycle through more cards to help build up your combo pieces for later on. Now let's talk about the other second combo of how you can play AncientGarurumon, where you would just straight up build it in your raising instead. So you ideally want to be digivolving this Strabimon instead. I mean, either Strabimon, it doesn't really matter because they always give you value somehow. So this time, let's just showcase that you get this one. Now, you want to be digivolving your Lobomon next in the promo in the raising area, and you don't really get its when digivolving effect. However, you do want to pay attention because you want to be utilizing its inheritable. Next, you're going to have to digivolve into one of your Beowulfs here. Essentially, you're going to have to pay 3 memory no matter what into one of them. But let's just say you digivolve into this one since because you're going to see it more likely in most game situation anyways. This is how it's going to have to work. Once again, you're going to really need 3 memory because once you have 3 memory, you're going to push this out. And now you have the Lobo promo Inheritable Live, where you can basically digivolve into your AncientGar for a reduced cost of 2 by reducing 2 costs. So essentially, you're just paying 3 memory instead to go into this AncientGarurumon here. Now, the really nice thing about this way is that this AncientGarurumon will not be deleted at the end of your turn this time. So therefore, you're going to swing in with your AncientGar right here, and then he's going to unsuspend, but also because you're swinging in with a 10 warriors, you get to gain a memory, you get to draw 1 card with Upamon if your opponent has a Digimon there on board as well. And then you swing again. Now, that's not just it, because there's a little bit more to it. Let's just say your AncientGar does survive for the next turn and your opponent passes back to you and you have a Koji present on board. Now, what you can do next is digivolve it into one of these hybrids right here. Kendallgar would be the best one simply because it gives you the jamming. So you'll pay 2 to digivolve it, come out here, and then swing with Kendallgar here. And then afterwards, your next step is to swing in with AncientGarurumon. Now, when attacking, you get to unsuspend both AncientGarurumon and KendallGarurumon. Now, keep in mind that AncientGarurumon is Garurumon in its name, and KendallGarurumon is actually a hybrid in its traits. So then you can unsuspend both, and then that's basically 2 checks so far. You swing in once more again with Kendallgar, and then you swing in once more again with AncientGar, and immediately in that one turn, that's 4 checks in total. And of course, you gain a memory with Strabimon along the way. And if you want to push it even further, you can digivolve for another hybrid, and then you swing for 5 checks. And maybe potentially for game if you did chip your opponent away in the early stages. Now, we still have another AncientGar combo to go for, and it's really, really cool. It does require a little bit more setup, but in the situation of a late game when you do see these pieces together, you can definitely do it. So this time you're going to use Koji, and make sure you want to have 5 different hybrids. Now, ideally, if you do have these promo Lobos, the more you have, the better. But let's just say, you don't always get to have the luxury to pick and choose, but you do have a lot of draw power in this deck and search power that you can get these pieces fairly easily. And it's really up to you to sort of identify when these situations happen. So you can go here into a Koji, stacking these 5 underneath. Of course, you always want to be prioritizing ones with inheritables. The more inheritable, the better generally. And not go into MagnaGar just yet. What you want to do next is actually just stack it right there, and then you can just digivolve Kendallgar for 2, go down to 1 with this card here. Now, actually, you do want to have a bit more memory, ideally 4 to pull this all off. So let's just say you begin at 4, you digivolve into Kendallgar, so you only pay 2. Does become very important because it does also depend on how many promo Lobos you have. Now, you want to digivolve for 1 into your Beowulf here. That's also very, very cost effective. Now, keep in mind now, this time you have 2 promo Lobos for your digivolving reduction cost. So you can essentially just pay 1 to digivolve your Beowulf into an AncientGarurumon right here. Now, the outcome is obviously not as amazing as AncientGarurumon, but you can still build a very cool stack here, which is very fun, and it could happen sometimes. So you will swing in with AncientGar, then unsuspend, you swing in and proc all these different kind of effects. We don't really get the Koji unless you did add a card from your hand, and then it can't be blocked, which is very nice, and you can gain a memory, but then you get to gain a memory from here, and then swing in again. So a little bit fancy, maybe not very necessary, but you could do things like this later in the game, which is also kind of cool. Okay, now let's talk about our MagnaGarurumon combo, which we do have a couple to show you guys as well. This time, you don't really necessarily need 3 memory in this particular one. You can be at 2 or 1, whatever, but it's just a very simple idea. Just you want to go into your MagnaGar. So you have your MagnaGar ready in your hand, and then you can place 5 hybrids underneath Koji this time. And once again, any 5 hybrids will do. And they're kind of loaded up as sort of like your ammo for MagnaGar's effect. So you put 5, and then you pay the 4 memory, passing your opponent to 1 to Digivolve into your MagnaGar. Now, because it's when Digivolving effect, you can choose to bounce something by returning something you have. Now, keep in mind that if you have another MagnaGar in your hand, you can actually add it underneath instead of one of these guys as well, which works very nicely. And that is because you can return this MagnaGar back to your hand and then bounce a level 6, which is really, really neat. So that is basically the first way, very simple way to play MagnaGarurumon, but we also have another really cool combo to show you guys as well. In this situation, you don't have to use Koji's effect, but you can just simply Digivolve a Kendall-Gar, ideally on top of Koji, so it instantly will have jamming. You do want to have 3 memory or a little bit more, depending on what you have, what you can work with, the more value there is. Of course, it will Digivolve 1 into Beowulf. Beowulf will now actually have jamming, which is really nice. So you can swing in with Beowulf. Beowulf will return Kendall-Gar back to your hand so that you can bounce a level 4. But also keep in mind, Beowulf will have jamming, and because Koji, you have added something back to your hand, you gain a memory and he cannot be blocked. Now, to quickly finally finish it, you can pass your opponent to 3, and then you can go into a MagnaGarurumon. MagnaGarurumon can also then return Beowulfmon this time, bouncing a level 5 your opponent has, and then it unsuspends right here. Last but not least, we got the final AncientGar and MagnaGarurumon combo all together, where you can do lots of massive swings in one turn, and you can pull it off quite frequently as well. Of course, just like the very first combo, you have Lobomon and AncientGarurumon together. Well, once you're ready, you're going to push out your Strabimon here. What you're going to do first is actually you're going to swing in with your MagnaGarurumon, return Beowulf back to your hand to bounce one of your opponent's level 5, and then also unsuspending it, and then you gain a memory. Ideally, you want to be at 3 memory for this combo in particular to have a total of 3 memory somehow at some point. Now, MagnaGar is going to unsuspend, so then you can swing in once again with MagnaGar here as well. Next, you're going to pay 2 to Digivolve into Lobomon, Promo Lobomon, and then use its when Digivolving effect to pay 1 to go into AncientGarurumon. Now, you guys can see what's coming, right? AncientGarurumon will swing in, and then using AncientGarurumon's effect, you can unsuspend both of these guys right here. 3 checks so far, and then you continue to swing in with the rest of these 2 here. And then that will be 5 checks in total. Now keep in mind, in this situation, let's just say you had the Strabimon instead, and in this situation, you have gained an extra memory. If you have 2 memory left, you can then go in hybrid free game, pulling off an OTK combo with this deck and with these cards, which is really, really cool and really, really awesome. That will conclude for the deck building strategy and in-depth combo guide for the AncientGar and MagnaGar deck profile for today. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a like. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, or questions, be sure to share it with everyone in the comments down below. Overall, the AncientGarurumon and MagnaGarurumon deck is very fun to play. Of course, it is not a top tier meta deck or anything, but the consistency and the diversity of how we can pull off combos is really, really cool. Like I showed you guys in the combo segment, there are so many different ways to pull off multiple unsuspends and swings with this deck. So you guys should definitely try it for yourselves and let me know what you guys think. That will wrap up for the video for today. Once again guys, if you just can't wait for the upcoming BT10 content, then be sure to hit that subscribe button right now, turn on that notification bell to stay tuned. As always, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video. This is Avault, signing out.